The Nagesh, retired Additional Secretary, Team IAS Network. Today, the topic for discussion would be common to General Studies Paper 2, Political Science, International Relations Paper 1, Section B, Public Administration Paper 2. One advantage in opting for PSIR as an optional would be the overlapping of syllabus between the General Studies 2 paper and paper 1 section B. Both are almost similar. So today we do a topic on GS2 polity. The role of Parliament. Parliament's primary role of discussion and reconsideration has been relegated to the background. Substantiate in 150 words. So the main answer the examiner is seeking from you is the examination of the role of Parliament, what it was intended to, what is happening, and any suggestions you would like to offer. First, the brief introduction, why the parliamentary form of government was adopted. The first important reason why parliamentary government was adopted was, of course, we inherited this system from the British government who ruled us. Apart from that, there are certain inbuilt advantages why parliamentary form has been adopted. The first advantage is representativeness. By representativeness, I mean Parliament functioning as the representative of the people. We have the two houses, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. They represent, the Lok Sabha represents the people directly elected. Rajya Sabha represents the states. The second advantage of the parliamentary form is responsiveness to public interest. How the parliament responds to public interest. This is through the working of the members of parliament at the center and the members of the Legislative Assembly and MLCs at the state level. So this is the responsiveness to public interest. The third advantage why we took the parliamentary form of government is accountability. Accountability to the people. As I said, the Lok Sabha is directly accountable to the public for its actions, and we have a system of elections once in 5 years. Accountability. Audit of actions at the level of the constituency. So the work of the member of parliament or the work of the member of the Legislative Assembly is analyzed or scrutinized by the electorate, and if the member of parliament or the MLA is not functioning or is disinterested, then the obvious would be he will not be elected to the parliament the next time. With this background of the why the parliamentary form of government was adopted, we explained the 4 points. We spoke of representativeness, responsiveness, accountability, then audit of actions at the constituency level. Now the key institutions around which parliamentary democracy revolves, there are two key institutions. One is the parliament, comprising of the president, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. Then at the state, the governor, the state assembly, the legislative council. We see the working of parliament. See, the committee system was adopted by parliament to enhance the efficiency of the house. Now when technical matters come, the technical issues arise, this require detailed elaboration by the committee. In this, we highlight two important committees, the Estimates Committee and the Public Accounts Committee. Now, the committees are not constituted on party lines. They work from the public layer, and the committees provide a training ground for the young parliamentarians. So the committee system is a means for scrutinizing the bills, since parliament does not have the time nor expertise to scrutinize, and many times technical issues come up. So the presence of the committees facilitates detailed discussion, and then they report back to the House. This is the work of the ad hoc committees, which inquire and report on specific subjects. Now, with this background, we see the fault lines, like what is happening at present. The first thing would be the role of the presiding officers. See, if you take the functioning of the Lok Sabha, we had dynamic speakers like G.V. Mavlankar, P.A. Sangma, Somnath Chatterjee, who upheld the autonomy of the House. So the functioning of the House is dependent on the presiding officer. You take the role of the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, who is the vice president. You cannot say he is impartial because he is invariably linked to the functioning of the government. The next important thing which we would like to mention is, if you see the working of the parliamentary system, 60% of the bills in the 14th Lok Sabha were referred to the committees. In the 15th Lok Sabha, 71% of the bills were referred to the committees. You see the 16th Lok Sabha, only 27% were referred to the committees. So here what is happening is, government is trying to pass everything through voice vote and trying to sideline the functioning of the committees. Then another important thing would be how, see, you take 2015, we had a major legislation, the LAR Act, Land Acquisition, Relief and Rehabilitation. So this is one bill which went through detailed scrutiny before it became an act. We do not have such a detailed discussion subsequently. For instance, you take the splitting up of Jammu Kashmir into 2 union territories, abrogation of Article 370. These were not referred to any committees, it was just done by the brute strength of the ruling party. Then you see the latest developments. You take the agrarian reform bills, the 3 bills which were recently introduced and debated and passed by voice vote. You take the labor reform bills. So all these show that the committee system has been given a go by. Everything is decided by voice vote. Not much importance is given to deliberation. So this is what I mean by fault lines. Okay, if you take the stance that certain emergency legislation had to be done by voice vote and there was no time to refer to the committee, you take one of the prominent bills which is still pending in Parliament, women reservation. So going by the stand taken by the government, why was not women reservation bill also passed like this? Why is it still kept pending in Parliament? Now, finally, you see the role of Parliament. What is the role of Parliament? The role of Parliament is deliberation, discussion, and reconsideration. This is the primary role of Parliament. Parliament deliberates issues, discusses important matters, and reconsideration. When the Parliament is not able to devote time to a particular bill, it is obviously referred to the standing committees. As I told you, in 1993 there were 24, there were 17, I'm sorry, later on it became 24 standing committees. So now these standing committees, what do? They look into interrelated departmental matters. Then they look into demands for grants. See, when they scrutinize the functioning of various departments, obviously they look into whether the grants allotted to the ministry is sufficient. Then they examine the bills relating to a ministry. They consider annual reports. See, annual report is one thing wherein the entire working of the department under the ministry comes under public glare when the committee scrutinizes. Finally, they submit reports to Parliament. So this departmental related standing committees. In 1993 there were 17, later on it became 24. Now what is happening? Due to the government trying to bypass the committees, it is the running of the committees is very, like what shall I say, they have become redundant in the sense that, as we discussed earlier, In the 16th Lok Sabha, only 27% of the bills which were submitted went to the scrutiny of the committees. Most of it have been done by voice vote. So concluding the discussion, we, we specified that the role of Parliament is of deliberation, discussion and reconsideration. So now Parliament should not become a platform to endorse decisions already arrived at. So what is happening? The Council of Ministers, the Cabinet already decide what stand to take and get the brute majority to endorse the decisions of the government. So Parliament has become a platform to endorse decisions. So you are thereby undermining the role of the Parliament. So we agree with the question that Parliament's primary role of discussion and reconsideration has been relegated to the background. So Parliament has become just a platform for endorsing decisions taken by the government. Decisions have already been taken. Parliament is merely endorsing the decisions. So finally, for a question like this relating to GS2 polity, as I told you, this particular topic is common to Political Science International Relations paper 1 section B, also to Public Administration paper 2. We analyze the question in the following manner. First, we speak of the advantages of the parliamentary form of government, highlight the important factors. Like we said, it is responsive, then it is accountable, then audit of actions at the constituency level. It is a mechanism wherein the performance of the MP and MLA is tracked. Then working of Parliament, we said the committee system, we spoke of the departmental standing committees and how even though the Parliament has increased the number of standing committees to 24, not much of activity is taking place at the committee level. As we have seen, the number of bills referred to committees has seen a gradual decline, with just 27% in the 16th Lok Sabha referred to the committees. 27% of bills are referred to the committees. Whereas in the 14th Lok Sabha, 60% of the bills were referred to the committees. So you see a gradual decline in the functioning of the committees. Then we also saw how important legislations like the agrarian reform, the labor code, all this, and even the splitting of J&K, all this were done without parliamentary scrutiny. It was done by sheer voice vote. So finally, we concluded the answer by saying how the role of Parliament, which should be of deliberation, discussion and reconsideration, it has become a mere platform to endorse decisions already arrived at. The Cabinet takes the decisions and the government is placing the decisions already taken for endorsement by the Parliament, thereby negating the role of Parliament and making thereby relegating Parliament to the background. Thank you.